Hi, welcome to the Law Ghana. You can be jailed for 2 years for insulting your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, or your wife in a manner that would make them feel inadequate, worthless, unhappy, or humiliated. Do not scroll, do not skip. Follow me as I break down Act 732 to you. Yes, so what's Act 732? Act 732 is also known as the Domestic Violence Act of Ghana, 2007, which has been enacted to protect and control domestic violence in Ghana. So understanding this, the question here now is, how does insulting your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, or your wife relates to domestic violence? So here's why I'm going to prove this to you, and we are going to read everything together. So now let's go to Act 732, Section 3. So Section 3 is saying that a person in a domestic relationship shall not engage in domestic violence. Now the subsection 2 is saying that anyone in a domestic relationship that engages in domestic violence shall be jailed for 2 years. So let's read this together. A person in a domestic relationship who engages in domestic violence commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a term of imprisonment not more than 2 years. So that is simply what the law is saying. The law is saying that a person in a domestic relationship shall not engage in domestic violence, and if you engage in domestic violence, you shall be jailed for 2 years. But then this doesn't answer the question, or this doesn't clarify the fact that when you insult your boyfriend, blah blah blah, you'll be jailed for 2 years. So let me prove this to you. For you to understand our position, you need to know how the law defined domestic relationship and how the law defined domestic violence. So let's go to Section 2 of the Act 732 to know how the law defined domestic relationship. In Section 2, it's saying that a domestic relationship includes relationships where the complainant, now let's go to the C, is engaged to the respondent, courting the respondent, or is in an actual or perceived romantic or intimate or cordial relationship, and not necessarily including a sexual relationship with the respondent. So before we move to Section 1, let's break this down. So he says a domestic relationship includes a relationship where the complainant is engaged to the respondent. So when we say a complainant is the person that is complaining of the abuse, the domestic abuse that had been inflicted on him or her. So now the law is saying that domestic relationship includes relationship where the complainant is engaged to the respondent. So if they are engaged, that means they are married. So it includes, if you are married, you fall within the ambit of domestic relationship. Now they said courting the respondent or in an actual or perceived intimate or cordial relationship, we can put boyfriend or girlfriend there. So now understanding this is saying that if you are married, if you are dating, if the person is your fiancé, then you are in a domestic relationship. Now let's go to Section 1. I'm not done with the breakdown. You would understand this. Let's go to Section 1. So Section 1 defines what domestic violence is. And there's a lot of writings there, but all we need is in the paragraph IV. Now it says that domestic violence includes emotional, verbal, or psychological abuse, namely any conduct that makes another person feel constantly unhappy, miserable, humiliated, ridiculed, afraid, jittery, or depressed, or to feel inadequate or worthless. So now what we need here is the verbal abuse. So when we talk of verbal abuse, it comes in a whole lot of form: verbal attack, verbal aggression, all those stuff which we are categorizing it, or which we are putting it in the insult category. So understanding this is saying that anyone that insults another person to make the person feel constantly unhappy, depressed, ridiculed, humiliated, or feel inadequate or worthless has committed domestic violence. So now to end this video, to understand our position, we would have to remove domestic relationship from Section 3 and put in the meaning of domestic relationship, and remove domestic violence and put in the meaning of domestic violence. Let's do this together. The breakdown you've all been waiting for. So now let's move to Section 3. Section 3 is saying that a person in a domestic relationship, and just as I said, we are removing the domestic relationship and putting in the meaning of domestic relationship. So it's saying that married couple, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancé, husband and wife, married couple, husband and wife, shall not engage in domestic violence. Now we would remove the domestic violence and put in the meaning of domestic violence, but then we'll just be using the verbal abuse, that's the insult. So now then it's saying that husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancé shall not engage in domestic violence. So now we are removing the domestic violence and putting in the meaning there. However, we'll just be using the verbal abuse, that's the insult. So let's do this together. It's saying that husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancé shall not engage in insults or shall not insult the other partner in a way that would make them feel unhappy, humiliated, ridiculed, or make them feel inadequate or worthless. But then forget all these ones. I know you've understood it now. The most interesting part is the subsection 2 of section 3, where it's saying that now, if your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband or wife makes you feel inadequate by verbal abuse, then they will be jailed or they will be liable on summary conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years. Hope this made your day. Follow us for more interesting and educative legal tips. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Stay safe.